You, Gary Lynn Floyd, that's beautiful. We'll hear you again. You'll come around again. Okay, well, just like that, this is the last Sunday in February. Now, we may wonder where the time went, but if we chose to truly make this a month of love, then we don't need to wonder where the love went, because it went everywhere. So here's a little pop quiz this morning. Pay close attention. What do the years 2024, 2028, 2032, 2036, and 2040 have in common? Well, first of all, they're presidential election years here in the U.S., and the Summer Olympics are scheduled to occur. And, yes, they're leap years. When February gets an extra day and is 29 days long, as it will be this coming Thursday. So you might be thinking, well, it should have been easy because, leap year comes every 4 years, but that's not always the case. 365 days in a year is just roughly how long it takes the Earth to make its full orbit around the sun. It actually takes 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 56 seconds to make that trip. And so why does that matter? Well, if the extra time wasn't accounted for, the seasons would begin to drift in the calendar. And so in a period of about 700 years, summers, which we've come to expect in June, would actually occur in December and have nothing to do with global warming. Now, since we humans seem to have been savvy in both math and astronomy ever since ancient times, from the beginning, way back in 46 BC, Julius Caesar introduced a leap day every 4 years to fix the problem. But after a while, it was noted that the Julian calendar didn't quite fix things. By adding a leap day every 4 years, the calendar was longer by 44 plus minutes. And those 44 plus minutes over time would cause the seasons to drift in the calendar. So, in 1582, the Gregorian calendar reformed the leap year concept by eliminating leap years in century years that weren't divisible by 400. Stay with me. Which is to say, if the year is divisible by 100, but not divisible by 400, the leap year is skipped. And so not every 4 years there's a leap year. There is in 2000, but not in 1700, not in 1800, not in 1900. You didn't know that either, did you? No? In fact, just so you don't have to do the math, in case you're doing it in your head right now, and I'd rather you be paying attention up here, I'll tell you that the next leap year to be skipped is in the year 2100. And by the way time's passing, it'll be here before you know it. So why am I mentioning all of this? You're wondering that too, aren't you? because we're here and we're now, and it is a leap year. And in recognition of that, as it's been mentioned, the title of my talk is Take a Leap. Yeah, it was a long introduction for a talk title, but here we are, and let's get going. Yes. So as we know, to take a leap means to go for something, to take a chance on something. The dictionary tells us that if you take a leap, you're jumping across and into something new. You could say that every morning we all take a leap. We wake up to a new day, and even though it may seem like it's the same, it's full of opportunities that we haven't taken yet. And it's full of chances for us to experience more and more of what it means to be alive on earth. Maya Angelou, in her poem On the Pulse of Morning, wrote, "Lift up your eyes upon this day breaking for you." Here on the pulse of this new day, you may have the grace to look up and out and into the eyes of your sisters and into the face of your brothers and your country, and say simply, very simply, with hope, good morning. A good morning offered with hope is a powerful thing. It's a leap of faith that something good, or at least something better, may come our way today. Something new that hasn't come into our life or into the world before. Without hope, life is not only a struggle, but it's depressing. Because all that's left is resignation. A feeling of being vulnerable to the wishy-washy ways of a world outside of us. And without faith, there's nothing new to leap to. In the book of Hebrews, we read, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Without faith that there is an invisible power, the unseen positive energy of our source above and beneath and within us, without faith that right where we are, no matter where we are, there's a divine presence of unconditional love that knows who we are and why we are, what would there be for us to have faith in? As we quoted last Sunday, if we have faith as a mustard seed, we can move mountains. Well, every sacred text tells us that love never fails. If we have faith like a mustard seed, that love never fails, we can change our life, and we can collectively change the world. Faith that love never fails causes us to be willing to take a leap of love even when we can't see a reason. To take a leap of love when forgiveness is being asked for. To take a leap of love when non-judgment is being called for. Choosing love, no matter what, moves us to a place within us where it becomes so clear to us that love is what we are, even now. How far a leap of love seems to us depends on how far away it seems from us. There's an old story about two spiritual students, Liam and Elijah. And they were given a task by their teacher to figure out how to cross a nearby chasm that was too wide to jump and too deep to survive a fall. And so Liam thought and thought and thought about how he could do that, and he decided that he would build a bridge. That he'd read books on how to build a bridge, and he'd find all the tools he could to build it. And as he started off to the bookstore and to get the tools, he noticed Elijah was just sitting there by the chasm. And he had his eyes closed and a serene smile on his face, and he appeared to be meditating. But Liam just shook his head, doubting that Elijah was going to cross the chasm that way. And so when Liam returned with his arms full of books on bridge building and pulling a cart that was just full of tools he could use, he could see that Elijah was still in the same place. And so Liam shrugged and got started. Following the instructions in the books and using as many tools as he could, Liam worked hard, day and night, with great dedication and great effort to build a bridge. Yet, even though he moved quickly, he was still frustrated with himself because he still had such a distance to go. And as he worked, he noticed that Elijah was still in the same place and he wasn't doing anything, and that only added to Liam's frustration. And then one day, when Liam was almost halfway across the chasm with his bridge, he looked up to see how much farther he still had to go. And to his shock, Elijah was already there on the other side. And he shouted to Elijah, "How did you do it? How did you get across the chasm?" And Elijah said, "I quieted my mind of all the thoughts that were telling me of the difficulty. And when there were no problems in my mind to solve, I felt calm and peaceful and happy, as if I was already there on the other side. And then I realized that there was no chasm to cross, and here I am." Abraham Hicks tells us to try to take action and make something happen before we've gotten ourselves into the feeling vibration to receive it is counterproductive. Effort is action with the presence of resistance. A leap of any kind, physical, emotional, mental, can't be successfully made with the presence of resistance. Resistance causes us to fall short every time. When we try to take a leap of faith, we often fall short because we're efforting. We're trying too hard to leap over a chasm of separation between our human self and our spiritual self. All our efforts won't get us there if we're convinced we still have a long way to go. Of Course in Miracles tells us it's a journey without distance. What we're looking for is what we're looking with, and who we find is who we are already. Rumi wrote, "Your calling my name is my reply. Your longing for me is my message to you. All your attempts to reach me are in reality my attempts to reach you." Could it be that all our attempts to become spiritual is the spiritual self we already are reaching for us? Could it be that all it takes for us to cross the chasm of separation and experience our oneness with a universe of love is the realization that there is no chasm of separation? We're already the one we're looking for, the spiritual being we've always been. But it takes a leap of faith for us to live as if we're already there while we're here in this physical world. We're here in this human environment, in these human bodies, not to struggle and not to effort, to become something we're not already. We're not working off demerits for something we did in this life or in past lives. We can't earn a spiritual degree because we brought our pedigree with us. We're here for the joy of living as the spiritual being we've always been. We're here for the ecstasy of loving as the love we've always been. In the Way of Mastery, we read, "Delight in the blessings of time, and see not a single moment as that which would imprison you. For there is nothing outside of you, while within you is the absolute freedom of choice, given wholly and never earned." And in this freedom, you can look upon the things of time and each event that time seems to require of you, and choose to radiate instead of contract. You can choose unlimitedness instead of limitation. You can choose love instead of fear. That is the great gift of time. And to add to our gift of time, we get a whole extra day of time on Thursday. So let us choose to start it with a hopeful good morning and end it with a grateful good night.